Hello Stampers, Kelly Acheson at stampinUp.com coming to you from Menasha, Wisconsin. I have a jam-packed, wait, what? Wednesday tip video for you. I've got a whole bunch of tips for a really pretty card that I made, and I'll show you the whole card in the end. But for right now, I'm just going to show you how I made all the elements on the card, because I think you can use them in a variety of ways. So let's get started. I've got some watercolor paper here. I've got my big, oops, this is my little one. Hang on, I gotta find my big one. My big aqua painter. When you buy aqua painters, you get one with a small tip and one with a large tip. And today we're gonna be using the large tip. And I've got several ink colors here. So the first thing I'm gonna show you that I did with this card is a watercolor wash, and how easy it is to make a beautiful background to put behind your card elements. So first of all, I'm just going to squeeze my aqua painter a little bit, and I'm going to wet the watercolor paper. Now watercolor paper is especially made for water, right? So you don't have to be, let's say you can be more generous with the water when you're using watercolor paper. So I've got my entire layer wet here. I'm just going to zoom my camera in a little bit so that you can see better. Now with our new ink pads that flip open like a compact, you want to turn them over and push from the back to get that ink in the lid. They work better that way. And now I'm just going to grab some of that ink and I'm going to wash it over my layer. And you can see how beautiful and subtle that is. And it just kind of spreads. That's how we are getting these gorgeous, gorgeous backgrounds. Now, this is very subtle. I'm using balmy blue. You could do it with some much more vibrant colors. You could do it with a multiple of colors to come up with a really, really pretty background. Subtle or vibrant, but I need subtle for my card that I'm going to show you today. Okay, so that was our step number one. Step number two, I'm going to use the Picked For You stamp set. And if you watched me on Sunday on my Facebook Live, that can be found on Facebook at A Stamp Above Your Creative Coach. If you do a little search for that Facebook, you're going to find it and you'll find my Facebook Live video. Now, this stamp set is something I had to buy because my daughter just graduated college and she has her first real big girl job where she's going to be a teacher for 5th and 6th graders coming this fall. So I had to buy this stamp set because it talks about teachers. For a special teacher, you're terrific to the core. Thanks to you for all that you do. You are the best. And then of course we have these beautiful 3-step, actually 4-step with the stem, apple images that are a watercolory image, and you can stamp them 3 times to get a very beautiful apple. Now, like I said, if you watched my Facebook Live last Sunday, you got to see how I made the apples. Today I'm going to show you something different. I've still got my Stamparatus set up here, and that's one of the wonderful things about the Stamparatus is you can leave all the stamps in it and use it to make multiple cards. So when I got done making my apple cards last Sunday, I got to thinking, could we make something else with this stamp set? Let's give it a try. I am going to place my plates in here. Now, mind you, I've already lined up all 3 of these apples. And if you're wondering how I did that, just go to my Facebook page or you can go to my blog yesterday. Well, you'll find the video because I uploaded on YouTube. You can go to my blog yesterday. My blog address is, well, you probably can't see it right now because I have my camera zoomed in. The blog address is www.stampinUp.com, and if you go to that particular blog address on August 14th, you will find the apple card that I made. Okay, I am just going to place my cardstock in here. Now, we don't need this to be any particular place except that my apple is going to stamp on it. So that's all I'm doing is putting it in position, and I'm going to put one of my magnets on here to hold my watercolor paper in place because it's very important that it doesn't move. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I am going to use, oh, if you didn't happen to catch that video, let me show you a little something. Let's see, here's a piece of white so you can see this better. So there's 3 apple images and a stem. This apple image is marked image number 1, this one's number 3, and this one's number 2, and then stem is number 4. So that's kind of the order that you can stamp in, but you don't have to stamp in that order. They've just labeled them here to make it a little easier for you. So I am going to take image number 2, and I'm going to ink that up with my crushed curry ink pad. And I'm going to stamp that on my watercolor paper. Now it's very, very faint, and that's okay. You can probably hardly see it in the camera. Don't worry about that. Now I'm going to turn over my plate, and I'm going to be using image number 1. And I'm going to ink that up with, whoops, I just stuck my finger in the ink. Hang on. That's why I have my baby wipes at the ready here. Oh, and you guys, I apologize. I was making apples last night, so I've got ink all over the place. Oops, just did it again. Oh, and I broke a nail. Yeah, it was a rough day of stamping yesterday. I didn't break my nail stamping. It's not that dangerous. Okay, so pumpkin pie right here on image number 1. Don't worry about getting ink on your plate. It won't hurt a thing. You're going to give that a nice firm push. And then we've got image number 3, and we're coming in with Cajun Craze. Oops. And have you figured out yet what I'm making? Who knows what I'm making? Now this isn't very attractive yet, but we're going to do a little work on this. So we are done with our Stamparatus right now. I'm just going to set it aside. And we are going to bring this in, and we're going to work with it a little bit. I'm going to get all the blue from the watercolor wash off of my aqua painter. And now we're going to come in. This is so, so simple. All you're going to do is I like to start with the darker Cajun Craze area first. And I'm just going to go in here, and I am going to blend my colors. Again, I'm going to come over here, blend my colors. This is such a simple thing. And have you figured out yet what I'm making? Now, I've left that middle, that's the crushed curry. I haven't touched that yet because I don't want that to take on a lot of the other oranges. So now I'm just going to come in, and I can tone that down a little bit by pulling some of the Cajun Craze and pumpkin pie into it. And it still has that beautiful, beautiful highlight in the center. And then I'm going to grab just a little bit of Cajun Craze from the lid, and I'm going to come in here, and I am going to do a little line right here. Just like that. Okay, we need to do our stem, and I've got some soft suede here for the stem. And I think by now, have you guys figured this out yet? And don't worry, I just had an edge right there, but we're not going to worry about that because these are going to be cut out. And now I'm just going to blend this a little bit. The stem is just very, very, very nice. And now I'm going to come in and do that little line right there again. Okay, you guys, I took the Picked for You, which is an apple set, and I made a peach. I know, right? I was so excited. I'm like, what else can I make with these apples? And I thought, peaches would be beautiful, wouldn't they? Okay, now I'm going to cut this peach out, and I'm just going to set it aside over here with my watercolor wash paper, and we've got one more element to this card. I'm going to bring in my basket weave embossing folder. This is one of the dynamic folders that really has a very deep impression. So I ran it through some crumb cake, just a scrap of crumb cake in this folder. Now remember, when you use this folder in the Big Shot, you put your cardstock inside, you have your one tab open or that extra plate off of your platform. You run this through with only one plate on the top because they're super, super thick. So once I've got that done, I'm going to bring my Big Shot in here, and I'm going to zoom my camera back out so you can see a little bit more. And we are going to die cut this image with the Stitched Shapes framelits. And this is the circle with the little stitches around the outside edge. And then I'm also going to bring in a layer of soft suede and die cut that with the layering circles framelits, the little scalloped one that's just a little bit bigger than this image. I know I'm like a broken record. If you don't have the Stitched Shapes and the layering circles, I really highly recommend them. They are one of my go-to products. I've used them over and over and over again. You know how sometimes you buy some products and you don't use them very often? And you're like, oh, why did I buy that? Well, these particular framelits are not in that category. I use them all the time. And if you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, you can go right to my blog. I have an online ordering button on the right side of my screen. And you can put in an order for these. They're fabulous. All right, so now do you know what I'm making with this? Super, super, super cute. Just putting some of my multi-purpose liquid glue on the back. We're going to glue this right over the scallops. You just got a tiny little edge peeking out, just like the fluted edge on a pie, right? I love making apple pie. Apple pie was my favorite, and it has a special place in my heart because my dad, who is no longer with us, used to tell everybody that I made the best apple pie ever. So that's got very fond memories for me. Now, oh, let me get back here. This is the cookie cutter builder punch, and I'm just using that teeny weeny little heart out of there because I wanted to tie in the blue. So I used Balmy Blue. And I'm just going to glue this little heart on my pie. I hope you can see that. It's just super tiny and cute. So we've got our watercolor wash. We cut out our peaches for a watercolor wash and this pie. So you got a jam-packed video today, right? Do you want to see the card now? I think you're going to love it. And here it comes. What do you think? I love using a stamp set for something other than what it was originally intended for. So obviously these are apples. It talks about teachers, and apples and teachers go hand in hand, don't they? And I made peaches out of it. And I love the way this turned out. You can see the subtle background, that watercolor wash with the Balmy Blue. And then I wrapped some baker's twine, I wrapped some linen thread around the edge here 3 times and tied it in a cute little bow. I used Balmy Blue to stamp I couldn't have picked a better friend. And then we've got a little pie down here. Who likes peach pie? I would probably say peach pie comes after apple pie in my book, but still very cute. And just in case you missed it, here is the apple card that I made on my Facebook Live. Again, you can find that on my blog, www.stampinup.com. It'll be posted on there on the 14th of August, 2018. And this is a great card for my daughter, who's going to be a brand new teacher. Thank you so much for joining me for this video. I really appreciate you taking a little time out of your day to spend it with me. Like I said, if you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I appreciate all your orders. It's what keeps me in business and keeps these free videos coming your way. I do have some online classes on my blog available. There are ways to get them free. When you place an order for a bundle from me, you can get the online classes for free, or you can buy them outright. You'll find links under every blog post for my online classes. You just click on it, it'll take you to everything that's available and all the details. You can click right up here to go right to my blog. And please don't forget, click down here in the bottom right corner to subscribe to my YouTube channel. You don't want to miss anything I have coming up. Have yourself a fabulous Wednesday. Bye-bye.